Hello and welcome to a new episode of Cinema Savvy, and we have a very special episode of Trailer Talk today, where we are discussing the kind of 1.5 trailers they've released last week for, sorry, not Han Solo, for Solo, a Star Wars story, also known in Spain as Han Solo, a Star Wars story. For some reason, it had to change, but
internationally they've changed it to Ranger Solo
in China.
Because Star Wars doesn't do well in China, so we're going to fool the entire Chinese viewership into thinking it's a completely different movie. They should have gone with Indiana Solo. That would have been a pretty cool...
because they'll need that for when Indiana Jones does come out.
That's true.
But yes, so finally, only 3.5 months is it before the trailer, not before the trailer drops, before the film drops, they've released not even a 2-minute trailer. They released one TV spot and a 90-second trailer for it. And it's kind of happened. I don't really know where to start.
I think it's kind of what you said in the... I mean, I've mentioned this in both my reaction videos, so this is mostly going to be you on this one, giving your thoughts on the trailers, but I think it's going to be what you said, how we've heard nothing from this movie until now, 3 months out of the movie, and it seems like in 3 months' time, they're going to have to catch up on like a year's worth of advertising for this movie.
Yeah, and we're getting that today. We've had EW's cover, 9 behind-the-scenes pictures. With the trailer on Monday, we got given 4 character posters. We had 1 TV spot, technically, 1 trailer, character names, the merchandises leaks.
It all started with the picture, didn't it? And then it was all Disney were like, "Oh, it's not official. Like, don't worry about that. It's the Lego figures." And then since then, we've had more and more. I mean, I thought it was getting to a point where we weren't going to even get a trailer. They were just going to go like, "Boom, Star Wars movie. Everyone's going to see it anyway." But I don't know if people are all going to rush out to this one. It almost feels like that one direct-to-DVD, direct-to-Netflix Star Wars movie.
This is the Star Wars film where I think everybody... Would you pay more to watch this film or to watch a documentary on the making of this film?
Right. I mean, that's kind of the case with like Rogue One for me. Like, there's always that like, oh, what was the original version? But the final product that we got was still really good. But you still got that curiosity. This one, like, I would have loved to have been like a fly on the wall in terms of the production of this film. We did a video, didn't we? We did like a special video for like the whole, didn't we? Or was it one of our? I think it was probably one of our movie news.
It was. I think it was towards the start of news, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That it happened. Obviously, for anyone brand new, Ron Howard took over the vacant director's role taken from Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who were sacked with only 3 weeks of filming left, and reshoots turned into reshooting the entire film. It wrapped in November, so 6 months before production. And we've had our trailer in February, and this is Trailer Talk, but I guess to something of this magnitude, it's worth talking about the actual film itself.
Yeah.
It is a film about Han Solo, not starring Harrison Ford, let's make that crystal clear. And it's bringing back some iconic characters such as Lando Calrissian, performed by Childish Gambino or Donald Glover or whatever you want to call him. Chewbacca. Is there any other returning characters or just them 3?
That we know of so far, yeah. They're going to be the main ones, I think. I think it should, arguably, the film could have been carried just on that trio alone, I think, really. I guess we don't really have a structure for this, so we're going to be all over the place a bit. But one thing I wanted to start off with was when I first saw the trailer, there were a lot of things in there where I was questioning, like the fact that Han Solo's characters got ties to the Empire from a very, very early age. And then in the original Star Wars, it seemed like he was completely clueless to everything going on. I was actually speaking to my friend who's like really sort of up on the old Star Wars, what's now considered Legends, the old expanded universe. And he says that more so than any other of these like Disney Star Wars films, this one seems like it's taking a lot of material from the old EU. You've got the fact that he does have ties to the Empire. Apparently that is canon to the old stuff. And Woody Harrelson's character is apparently taken directly from the old EU as well, who was that mentor figure to him. The whole slavery thing as well with Chewbacca when they first met. I think they're going to do that in this movie. I've heard this is going to be the first time Han Solo meets Chewbacca and you get all that. So it seems like they've mined the whole old Star Wars canon a little bit more with this one, which could be cool.
Yeah, I think the thing is, when they took over Disney, and wiped out the old EU, at the time, again, I was never bothered. We went into it massively, and I personally think it gave them a lot of freedom. But they always did say that we'll take things we like and run with it. And I think, yes, with this, but in Rebels, you've had Thrawn, who has been probably the best thing about that entire TV show as a whole. I think with Han Solo, you don't know loads about his background, but I think the most iconic thing you can say about the character of Han Solo is that he won the Millennium Falcon betting off Lando.
Yeah.
And we are going to get that, which is the main thing, and that probably will be one of the final scenes of the film or something like that. So there's stuff we know we're going to get, and that's right, with Woody Harrelson, he was linked. I mean, I don't know the old EU like a Bible, but I'd heard that he was a mentor in it. I'd heard everyone knew about Chewbacca and the Wookiees being slaves, and and Han Solo saving him, and blah blah blah, life, debt, and all that stuff. So, and they've confirmed a planet today that's going to be in the film, a swamp planet, which was apparently in the old EU even from the late 70s. I think the very first Star Wars novel. So, I personally, as someone that wasn't bothered by the EU, there are them nutcases everywhere that cry. But then there's nothing wrong with Disney taking bits from it, because you look at the EU as a whole, and it's an absolute embarrassment, like the continuity within it, and there's so much. There's some really good stuff, don't get me wrong, but for every great thing, there's probably 8 awful things that they've run with.
There's another 2 characters as well. We've had one of the comments from Andre saying Tag and Bink are in it too.
Yes, and they were basically a duo of just useless sort of Imperial, not guards, but Imperial like officers, and they announced, Ron Howard announced during film, and they were going to be in it. So things like that, I don't mind, but it's gonna. The thing I do mind, and it's hitting me the most, is that Alden Ehrenreich isn't Han Solo. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care. That's the glowing object in all of this as a whole. Before we delve in properly, my thoughts on the trailer, I think the echo to yours, especially on Monday, was I like the look of it all, except one thing, and that one thing is Han Solo. And there's I think a lot of people are agreeing with that as well.
I've been I actually, when I went onto the video, I checked the comments after I did all the reaction videos on the main trailer, and it was all like, I've got a bad feeling about this. Like, all the comments were pretty much about Alden Ehrenreich playing Han Solo, and I agree with it. Like, it's very rare that we agree, especially like with modern Star Wars, we agree on that. And we talked about that, didn't we? That it seems like the spin-off movies are going to be the ones that we agree on. Like, we both liked Rogue One. We both have our reservations about this one. It's the episode ones we don't usually really see eye to eye on. But that's what pretty much everyone's been saying. Like, the trailer itself looks fine. And I will say that in terms of a trailer, it looks a darn sight better than what I thought it would look like.
Yeah.
That being said, like, it's very easy to throw together a trailer and make it look epic and awesome, and then you go and see the film and it could be a completely different thing. But no, you're right. The one, I think probably the main thing that we need to talk about is Alden Ehrenreich as Han, because when all the bad publicity was coming about the film, I think it was around the time that Phil Lord and Chris Miller were fired from the project. There were rumors that came out about the fact that they had to fly in an acting coach for, well, I think they didn't specifically say for who, but it was pretty much foregone conclusion who it was, for Alden as Han Solo. Like, he wasn't getting it, or they weren't getting the performance out of him they hoped for. I don't know why Disney would just like stand by and let that slide, though. Like, I don't know if they sort of put all their eggs in one basket and it was much too late to change, or...
I think because it wasn't, they weren't originally going to reshoot the entire film. It was, we're going to redo, was it, the original report was 10 weeks of refilming.
Yeah.
The problem is that I think, I mean, I loved Hail Caesar, and I think he's a very good young actor, and he, not from this trailer, but from himself in the media, if you see pictures at events, I mean, we were at Celebration when he got unveiled, you see Solo in him, the face, but there's something not clicking, and I hope it just is the trailer. I hope that it's great in the film, because I don't want it to not be great. But the problem is, when you're a young actor, well, obviously I don't know this myself because I'm not an actor, but I can't imagine many people wanting to step into the shoes of Harrison Ford and taking it on lightly. And everyone calls out Francine Gruber. Brinty's put it in the comments. I mean, you messaged me this morning. Deep down, I did want him when they first announced it, but then I just have to think to myself that at the end of the day, he's an impersonator, not an actor. And I'm sure that, like you said to me this morning, they probably did audition him and stuff, but I didn't want Francine Gruber. I did, but I didn't. But they need someone to come in and act, give a performance, and not doing Harrison Ford impersonation. But what's got me is that I don't want an impersonation of an actor, but actors sometimes have to put accents on.
Yeah.
And it sounds nothing like Han Solo. And people say, oh yeah, that's the actor, but you see actors with, I mean, look at Gary Oldman when he voiced that Reznov in Call of Duty. You can't tell that's Gary Oldman because it's an accent, and it's his voice acting anyway. But with this, there's something not clicking, and
Yeah.
it's a shame because from the trailer, I mean, the words are there, the mannerisms of the face, it was Han Solo-ish, and the words coming out of his mouth were Han Solo sort of lines.
Well, it's still written by Kasdan, isn't
yeah,
it?
exactly.
It's
Lawrence, and it's father-son duo. That they were the main reasons that they got rid of Phil Lord and Chris Miller anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just something not clicking, and it's that voiceover. It's what you said to me earlier. My dad said it to me. I showed him the trailer this morning, and he said, if you didn't know it was a Han Solo film, you would not know that's Han Solo.
Yeah. I completely agree. I mean, when I first saw it, I think I'd mentioned this in my reaction video as well. How it's framed at the beginning when he says, like, you know, I tried to get into the flight academy and I was kicked out for having my own mind, and he seems like kind of a tearaway, like a bit of a rebel character, like he's joyriding and stuff. Really reminded me of James T. Kirk, Chris Pine's character from the 2009 Star Trek film, how he starts off, how he, like, doesn't care. He tried to get into the thing. He's sort of like flown off the rails a little bit. There's even that scene where he drives that car off towards the cliff, is very reckless. It struck me as a kind of character like that, and had he been like a James T. Kirk character, I would buy that. But for Han Solo, not. And I think it's like a doomed if you do and doomed if you don't, really, because Harrison Ford is Han Solo. He has always been Han Solo, and Harrison Ford's an actor where it's almost impossible to be him. Like, he is such a unique actor in terms of his performance and his delivery. Had I have picked anyone, it probably would have been Anthony Nguruba. Like, he looks like him. He sounds like him. I actually watched the clip from Age of Adeline where he cameos in. He plays a younger Harrison Ford, and it was uncanny. He's got the charm. He's got the charisma down. And I guess we can't base, like, Alden's performance entirely on these few short clips that we see him in this trailer. But usually for a trailer, you have to cherry pick the best bits, or the bits that are going to get people into the cinema. And if this is the best that they've got, then it's going to be an absolute shit show when it comes to the time of the movie. There's an interesting question, though, that Brinsley's posed. Do you guys think people would be as worried about Solo if we didn't know all the behind-the-scenes information? That's quite an interesting question, I think.
They wouldn't be as worried, no, but there would be an uproar at the trailer for A, taking too long, and B, not to harp on it, but the performance, because the start. I think with this film, there are so many people sort of, oh, okay, you said you were burnt out earlier. I'm not burnt out, but it's like, oh yeah, it's coming out in May, isn't it? We just had Last Jedi. Why can't we have it in December? It's kind of I mean, I like Last Jedi, but the people that don't, they probably see this trailer and they're like, oh, another one. So it's a weird one. I think this is giving me more relief. If anything, the trailer's giving me relief because I like everything I've seen except one angle of it. So it's put me in a very weird sort of stomping ground. I don't know, because I've never really had this with a film before where I'm disliking a protagonist off a trailer, but I'm loving everything else about it.
Yeah, it's going to be really, and it's going to be difficult because the whole film revolves around him. That's a big thing to be worked up about and not to like. We've had a comment from Itzmo as well on the channel saying, as long as Alden Ehrenreich has the attitude and mannerism as Han Solo, I'm fine with it. He doesn't need to be a Han Solo impersonator. I kind of agree with that, but I'm also split on it. I'm going to do a comparison to a Middle-earth film now, George. I'm very, very sorry, but look at the Hobbit films when you had Martin Freeman as Bilbo. Like, he made that role his own, but there was a believable continuity there where you could see him becoming the Ian Holm performance of Bilbo from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. This is meant to be set, like, what is it, like 8 years before the original Star Wars, where we see Harrison Ford in the cantina bar. From what I've seen so far, I am not seeing that continuity between the character at all from this. And maybe when it comes to the movie, I'll like it. And we'll see that performance and it'll be okay for the film that it is. But at the minute, I do think it is a huge red flag for this film. I've pretty much said everything I can admit. I don't want to hate on the guy, but from what I've seen so far, he doesn't look like he's anything special.
And this is the sad thing, because when they cast him, it was off the back of Hail Caesar. That was one of my favorite films that year. He was outstanding in that film, a massive breakthrough, and he had the arrogance, the cockiness, the swagger from that performance, and I thought it was great. To this, I mean, we don't know how the behind the scenes has gone. We're not flies on the walls. Everyone's heard things, but the only people that know themselves are the ones that have been in the studios on production.
And this is the thing, we'll never know at this point. Like, I mentioned this in my reaction, but if you watch the Phantom Menace behind the scenes on the DVD, that is very candid. That is like, this was a disaster. Like, you could see the look of concern on people's faces, people pointing fingers at each other when they screened the film and it wasn't what they thought. But now Disney and Red Letter Media talk about this as well. It's like such a sheen that they put up, like a face, like everyone was happy, everyone was a happy family. It was all about family on set. Everything went smoothly. And you know it didn't, but you're never going to get that behind the scenes that you want to see. You're never going to get those interviews from Phil Lord and Chris Miller or anything like that.
I mean, they're not even. I mean, I think the only reason they've reshot the entire film is they don't get directing credit, so they can't take it to the Directors Guild of America, isn't it? That's the story. They'll get a story credit, I guess, but yeah, you're right. Everything's on such a tight ship, even with Rogue One. I mean, we thought that was in trouble until the film came out, because that trouble started after the trailers were already in. So maybe they're like, we don't want to release a trailer in case it's not going to be in the film. There's always that angle to it. But Rogue One was, I mean, Gareth Edwards, he still did the red carpets, he still promoted it, he was everywhere, still Blu-rays, everything. And I think that was legitimately, genuinely, it's not the tone we wanted, so we've done this and these reshoots, that's fine. But when you've switched directors, reshoot the entire film, make it publicly aware you've got rid of the directors, delay the trailer and whatnot, and it doesn't help that it's a film about Han Solo. Had it have been an original character, it's fine, but because there is that pressure, and there is deep down, when they announced the Star Wars spin-offs, I was like, this is fantastic. Rogue One, how they stole the Death Star plans, that's a really good idea. What was the original rumors? What, Boba Fett, Yoda, and Han Solo?
There was either going to be a Boba Fett one or just a bounty hunter one, like collectively with Boba Fett in it. Yeah, there were a lot of ideas.
Yoda was a rumor, which I never wanted at all. Han Solo was a rumor I never wanted.
Yeah.
The only one everyone's cried out for is Obi-Wan. Yeah. And we are probably going to get that. But the difference is that Obi-Wan is going to come back, and that's Ewan McGregor.
Well, it's the fact that there's a story to be told with that one, and I've talked about this at nauseum, but like, was anyone hyped for a Han Solo spin-off? Did anyone want a Han Solo spin-off? Like with Rogue One, again, it's a story that didn't really need to be told, but there was room to tell a story there. It could feed into the original Star Wars. It could help to enhance the experience a little bit more. But with like the Han Solo stuff, you get like little feed lines here and there in the original trilogy that point to some kind of history, but you get everything you need to from the lines and the performances. When Han meets Lando again in Empire Strikes Back, the way that they're laughing and they're old friends, you buy that there was a friendship there. And I don't feel like we need to see how Han Solo got the Millennium Falcon. Like, that's all in the information, and you know what I mean? I don't feel like we need a 2-hour movie to show that. I don't feel like that's going to enhance anything when it comes to the original trilogy that isn't already there.
The only thing this will enhance is our opinions of Lando Calrissian.
Yeah, that's true. We should talk about
this. Is a very good segue, because from day one, when they announced the Han Solo film, the main two things people wanted: is Chewbacca going to be in it? Is Lando going to be in it? And when the yes came to Lando, the entire world collectively together, there's only one man who can play a young Lando, and that's Donald Glover. And I have all the respect in the world for him to going out and getting him. I mean, some people know him as Childish Gambino, obviously the rapper. Did he win a Grammy, or did he perform at the Grammy recently? I don't know, but I've always known him from Community, and he does Atlantis, which is meant to be outstanding. But he's a very talented actor, and for him to come in as Lando, from that famous meeting of him and Billy Dee Williams out for dinner with his mustache grown, I think everybody has been excited. And he's got in 2 trailers, he's had 3 shots.
He's had no lines.
Everyone's going crazy for him, because that is what we do want to see. Because there is stuff. Yes, we know he loses the Falcon to Han Solo, but there's so much to tell about Lando that you don't get, because he's a supporting character as well. And this is really, when we joke about it, but this is deep down the main reason I'm excited to see it is Lando. I don't mind about them not doing Han Solo justice, because there's always Harrison Ford, and it doesn't matter what happens, Han Solo is Han Solo. But with Lando, you're in a different world. There's a different pedigree to that. I think because it's a supporting character, it's a bit riskier to have him in the film. But my word, that smile is the gift that everyone's talking about. The costumes are on point.
I was going to say, it's amazing how Han Solo gets like a collection of lines. Everyone's up in arms about it. Lando gets no lines, just flashes a quick smile, and everyone instantly knows that he's going to be the best thing in the movie. And he will be the best thing in the movie. Like, I think it's fair to say that we can predict that right now. I've only seen him in Community. He had that bit part in
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man covered as well, didn't he? So he is part of the Disney family already, I guess. But I mean, he is the perfect choice. You see him in with the mustache and the costume, and you're like, that's Lando. He's got the suaveness down. He's got all the mannerisms down to a T. I think genuinely, when it comes to this movie, I'm going to be watching it, and if he's not on screen for a lot of time, I'm going to be waiting until the next Lando scene.
He's going to be, I don't want to say the Donnie Yen, but you know in Rogue One that, yes, there was Jin and Cassian, but you loved the others. You loved K2.
It's the side character. Yeah, it's the side character.
Yeah, that's always been a trait of Star Wars itself, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you've got Rey, but everyone loves Poe. Well, no, they don't. I do, but it's always been it's like the original Star Wars films. Luke was your protagonist, but who's the one that everyone loved and adored? They loved him as well, but it was Han Solo. So and this is going to be the best thing about the film. And what I love most is I know they leaked the Lego sets, but the new Millennium Falcon, I guess that is a talking point because they do heavily feature in the trailer is that it is bright white, clean, new, tidy. And it's Lando's. We know the end game, it goes to Solo. We now know it's going to have to get dirty, whether that's in the film or just by the time it gets to New Hope. But that, to me, is already enhancing Lando's character that, he didn't just have the Millennium Falcon. He had this really done-up, top-notch, probably like some kind of bachelor pad version of the Millennium Falcon. So I'm now interested to see anything with that, and it's made me want to watch it even more.
Yeah, when I first saw the Falcon in the trailer, it reminded me of like an iPod. It reminded me of 2009 Star Trek.
The Apple Store.
It's well, granted, there's no like lens flares so far in this one just yet, but it's all bright and sheen and that's not what I think of the Falcon. I've talked about it, but I thought that the Falcon was this old vehicle that's been like passed down, won by people, sold, all that stuff, but it's like a really good ship and a sturdy ship, and that's why they have it. But then you bought the Lando thing, and it's right, like, Lando wouldn't fly around in a piece of junk. Like, he'd be the guy, like, driving around in, like, a posh Lamborghini trying to pick up chicks. Like, it seems like that would be the equivalent of the Millennium Falcon. I really hope they don't make it all run down and, like, filthy by the end of this movie. But I know, because I don't want this to be a movie where they tie everything up in a complete neat little bow. There is an 8-year gap. There's a lot of stuff that can happen in 8 years, and I hope they keep it up in the air a bit for like future adventures. But I don't know, with like or hopefully not sequels, but like Rogue One, that led directly into the original, and I really don't want this one to. I don't want this to be an entire collective history of Han Solo condensed into 2 hours. They need to leave a little bit of room.
I don't think it will be. I very much think that it's going to have the early days, and I feel that they will name drop Jabba the Hutt. That's given. Similar to Rogue One. I mean, what was my original Rogue One predictions? That they'll name drop Leia. That will kind of name drop Obi-Wan. There'll be these. I don't mind one or two sort of wayward sort of references, but I don't need Jabba the Hutt to be in the film. I don't need Boba Hutt. Not Boba Hutt. I don't need Boba. I don't need Boba Fett. No, that is a sight. I don't want to see a Boba Fett helmet on a Hutt.
Well, it can't be worse than Zero the Hutt, can it? From Clone Wars.
Clone Wars. Well, she's dead now, so it's all good.
Yeah.
But I don't want this film to be bad, and I don't want it to be. It looks like it's going to be the fan service film, and I'm fine with a fan service film, but I want it to be a film at the end of the day, and not an episode of Big Bang Theory where it's just references every 30 seconds. Because deep down, given what's happened, there is still potential for this film. Just spoke about how much we're liking Lando and the other stuff. There's going to be new characters, new planets. There's going to be stuff they can do. It's the point of these spin-offs is to tell us a new Star Wars story. That's the terrible name they've picked for it.
Yeah.
But
and I'm clamoring for some of that new stuff. And I mean, you talked about references. Force Awakens, all references. Rogue One even had moments where there were some references in there that probably didn't need to be there. It's like, great Disney. Yes, we've all watched the original Star Wars. We know how great those movies are. You don't need to keep reminding us that they're a thing. Like, do something new. And this trailer does look like it's doing something new, relatively, like the whole new planets. We've got loads of new vehicles and everything like that. And the actual set pieces and everything like that look really kind of cool. However, there are still some similar ingredients which are getting a little bit, you know, tried and tested right now. That's when it first starts out, and now it's just getting boring. We've got another like alien cantina bar. This is like the third or fourth.
I could dig this.
I know, but you've got like this sort of like run-down, grotty-looking cantina with like Lando there, and it looks like they're mirroring the Han Solo reveal from A New Hope. It's like, we've seen that now. I know it's a big galaxy. You're going to have multiple bars with aliens in it, but we've seen it. The thing that got me was the whole I'm putting together a team type thing with Woody Harrelson, and then it flashes to all the different people, and it just looks like Rogue One again. You've got a brand new droid that looks like he's going to be the new K2SO. Not that this is a bad thing before anyone starts hating the comment, but it's Disney pushing for that whole diversity thing. They've got to meet a quota with that. You know what I mean? It's like you're the strong female lead character. There's all the, it feels like Disney going down a checklist, just ticking them off one by one.
Speaking of strong female leads, we have to talk about Emilia Clarke.
Yeah.
Mother of Dragons,
yeah.
Sarah Connor. Remember that one?
I'm trying not to.
What else has she done? Yeah, Emilia Clarke.
What was that? That romantic.
Me Before You or
that's
something
the
like
fucking, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind her in Game of Thrones, but the more the series has progressed, the more I've disliked her. Terminator Genesis was a big hurdle to overcome. That was one of the worst films, I think. And that's not just her fault, but that's everyone's. That was one of the worst experiences of my life in the cinema.
Same.
I mean, it's a shame because we've got Thandie Newton in this film, who I think is an excellent actress. I haven't seen Westworld yet, but she's apparently meant to be amazing in that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see that Emilia Clarke's the lead female role and Thandie Newton's going to be a side character, I'm kind of like, I'd rather Thandie Newton because she's a much better actress than Emilia Clarke. But all over the trailer was just, I mean, if you had a blind person watching this, they could hear that and they think, wait, is that Daenerys? Like, it's a Daenerys line as well. This is who you were always meant to be. Is she telling Jon Snow that he's a Targaryen or something? I am not looking forward to her in this film. And the problem is, you know, she's the romantic lead. There's her in a speedo with Han Solo. She's doing the whole Destiny and Palaki. She's not in the future film, so, you know, she's probably going to die or betray them. Is she going to be the person that turned him into the grumpy Han Solo, or is it going to be, you know, she did something evil? But I'm not looking forward to her. And yeah, I mean, I haven't. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, she's motion capturing the new robot, which is great. She's a very good actress as well. And again, someone else shunted to the side just because Game of Thrones is the in thing. So let's just get another Game of Thrones cast member onto the show. Speaking of Game of Thrones, there is some more Star Wars Game of Thrones news. Very different, but that's good news. I'm not looking forward to her being in this film as well. It sounds like I'm harking. Like, if she's great, it's fine. If she's great, then she's proved me wrong. She's doing exactly what I wanted her to do. But I'm not really feeling her as the lead. Like I said, I just want that Lando film.
She'll be Emilia Clarke.
Yeah,
she's always been Emilia Clarke in everything.
It's just Daenerys now, isn't it? It's not even Emilia Clarke.
I've given my thoughts on what I think of Emilia Clarke in pretty much every single review we did of Game of Thrones season 6 and season 7. I don't think she's a good actress. She's very wooden. She says the lines, but she doesn't feel them. I don't like the way that Daenerys has been written. That's like a different thing though. But I think most of it stems from her performance as well. You just really don't get anything. But really, the only reason she's been cast is because Disney are always trying to be popular. They've got like top men working, like seeing what's popular with the in crowd. Game of Thrones is incredibly popular. There's a lot of people out there that do like Daenerys as a character. So, I mean, of course, she's going to be cast as a female lead. Everyone's going to love her. I think she's going to betray Han Solo in the film, probably at the end of the second act, and then she'll have some kind of redemption arc and die, and then this will set him up for this bitter, jaded guy. But I don't think Han Solo really needs that. Can't he just be like a sleazy, womanizing guy just because he is? He doesn't need some kind of like traumatic Emilia Clarke story. It is what it is. I'm not looking forward to her in this movie at all. As you said, like Thandie Newton, wasn't she in Mission Impossible 2? And
I can't remember. I'm
going to check if she was in Mission Impossible 2 while you carry on.
But we do get one shot of Thandie Newton in this trailer. She's kind of got the curly afro hair. There's they've given her a character name, but no one thinks it's that because it's the usual Star Wars one name. And if there's not two names with funny sounding syllables, then it's not usually a Star Wars character. But then I guess there's the old sort of the British Tobias Beckett's name that's being brought in, which is Woody Harrelson playing the mentoring role. That I am looking forward to. The downside of the mentor role is that he's going to die because he's also the one putting together a team. And Woody Harrelson's one of the most fantastic actors in the world. He's absolutely amazing in everything. I've never seen a bad performance from him. And he's definitely going to die in this film because he's the mentor figure. The mentor figures don't survive in Star Wars.
Yeah. No, exactly. It's going to be following the plot point of Rogue One. I think this is Woody Harrelson's going to be the equivalent of this movie's Saw Gerrera. Like, and
I was thinking more of Mads Mikkelsen.
Or Mads Mikkelsen, or original Alec Guinness Obi-Wan.
Imagine Woody Harrelson calling someone Stardust. That would be amazing.
Yeah, no, I love Woody Harrelson. He'll be fine in this movie. He'll be that character that dies, and you're just like, wish we could have got more of him in the movie. So I've got like hesitation on the characters and how they're framing everything because it just seems like it's a safe and a known. And I realized that, especially with this movie, Disney were kind of down to the wire with it and probably threw it out there. But the most like comparison I've seen people throwing around as well, not just me, is Guardians of the Galaxy. It feels like it has a huge Guardians of the Galaxy vibe, not just because you've got that huge tentacle space monster that looks like the one from the opening of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but just the look of it, the feel. I think the music in the trailer as well. Usually with Disney Star Wars, you get the Force theme, you get like this big swelling score. This one was very sort of electro heavy and more upbeat, and it feels like it's geared more towards like a young teen audience. And I guess that's why I got like the whole, like you could like switch this guy out for like Chris Pratt, Star-Lord, and it would be almost exactly like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
But he would have made a better Han Solo. Even though, he will be the Indiana Jones. That's who he was born to play. Yeah, you're right. There is a Guardians vibe to it, and I think it's the techno. It's even the Star Wars logo. It's not in some pristine golden fonts like the Rogue One. It's not in the usual Star Wars standard. Not even this Christmas when the text turns around and looks neat. It was Solo, bright yellow words. And there you kind of had it, and then there was the usual post-credit, not the post-trailer kind of comedic thing where he said, "Oh no, I've got this," and I hear everyone grunting because it's a great Han Solo line with awful delivery.
I think I cringed in my reaction when he said that.
It just went on as well, like 3 seconds longer than it should have.
Yeah.
But we've harped this so much, but I think my overlying opinion of this trailer is it's a fine trailer. There's one fault, which is just the most humongous fault a film could be, called Solo.
Yeah.
Him. But I want him and Disney to prove, if this is a hit, not just in terms of box office or critics, fans, or even fans, just a hit, then I will not only have the most insane respect for them, because they're a giant evil corporation. You can say it as a laugh, but they sack people, they get results. They are building their Star Wars films, and they have a machine. They've just spent $50 billion on Fox, but now it's kind of like, oh, this film's coming out 2 months later. There's not a lot going for it. Even its release date is coming out 3 weeks after Age of Ultron, 3 weeks after Infinity War, a week after Deadpool.
Yeah,
and is it 2 weeks before Jurassic World?
I think so. Like the month they've released it, and it's always a competitive few months because obviously it's summer movie season, everything's coming out. But like Itzmo in the comments has put, I feel like they should have waited until December for this movie.
Yeah, they should have
instead of May. I don't understand why they moved it. With all these production problems, you think maybe it would have looked really bad if they said like, look, we need to delay this movie another 6 months. But I would rather them delay a movie to get it to the best it can be rather than just like rush it out last minute.
I think it's because their December push is going to be Mary Poppins Returns, because that's coming out in December. It's got Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's going to be Jumanji's proven that there is room for a family film that can be a sequel 20 years later. Mary Poppins, okay, it's 50 years later, but that's going to be their big hit of the year. November, have they got anything out in November? I don't know, but I feel that they shouldn't have done May. May is very much the original Star Wars release date, but back then there wasn't a summer blockbuster season as such. There wasn't a Marvel film out every week. There wasn't. I mean, DC's got Aquaman in December this year as well.
Yeah.
There's so much coming out where they've got to pick and choose wisely. And I don't think May was smart at all. You can put an episode film out in May, but that's not going to make as much money as it would in December. And it's going to be the same with the Solo film. They should have waited till December, unless they just want it out the way so people can stop talking about it.
Yeah, and
that's
it just
the other
feels,
way of looking at it.
This feels like the most, not just like with the Guardians of the Galaxy comparison, this feels most like the Marvel equivalent of a Star Wars film to me.
It's like you're waiting for Infinity War. Well, no, I can't say about Black Panther because Black Panther looks amazing, but it's like Ant-Man. Ant-Man's coming out this year, but you only really want to watch Infinity War and Black Panther, but Ant-Man's coming at some point.
Yeah,
and that's what Han Solo's like. It was that gap between 8 and 9. Rogue One filled it beautifully. But this is kind of like just give me episode 9.
It's like I would have rather of them bring 8 out, have the 2-year off, bring episode 9 out. It would have felt like more of a wait for episode 9. It would have felt a bit more special. I'm still feeling the effects of Last Jedi. Like, that's still very fresh in my mind. I mean, it wasn't even 2 months ago that film came out. And I mean, the DVD will probably be coming out around April time, I'm guessing. Maybe even into May or something like that when this comes out. I don't know. It feels too soon. It doesn't feel... The magic of Star Wars feels like it's been lost to me. Like the special waiting for a movie to come out, which would have felt slightly less if it had come out in December, I think, because I like having that December tentpole movie. It's the big movie that you see before Christmas. It feels like an event. This just feels like a sort of support act before a main headliner. We've actually been asked a question as well. How much do you think this is going to make at the box office, more or less than Rogue One? You're the box office guy. It's going to be less.
Right. If this is great by critics and fans, it will be lucky to make 950 mil. If this is awful by one of them, basically, if it's great, it's going to get 950. Just to the timing, Infinity War, Jurassic Park, that maneuver, there's no time for it to settle and get extra box office weekends. 950 is a very good, but I think it's going to be like 800, and if China suddenly likes this one, 850 maximum. It's a box office hit, but for a spin-off, you can underestimate these will make less, especially this being the second spin-off, that it will just naturally make less than the first spin-off did. To me, it's anything between 750 950.
I'll say I've predicted it between 600 700. 600 is probably a little on the low side even for a Star Wars movie, but I think you'd be right. Maybe like 800 max. I don't see it making more than that, in all honesty. Purely for the fact as well, because it hasn't been advertised. Like, I still guarantee at this moment, you speak to any average Joe on the street, they're not going to know that there's a Han Solo movie coming out in May. Guarantee. Like, it just seems like it's really slipped under the radar. It's on the radar now. There's a trailer out, but no one really seems to care.
What they'll do, they'll release the second trailer. I can't even say... Yes, they will. They'll release the second trailer with Infinity War because it's 3 weeks before the entire world are going to watch Infinity War. That's their real best shot to advertise the film. Even merchandise for this film as well. The rumor is they're going to release the merch in April, whereas I think they want to move away from the 3 months before thing and just do it closer to build up. That makes sense to build up talk, but it's going to be very interesting. This is going to be maybe the most interesting release of a Star Wars film I've seen. I mean, Last Jedi, it's on 1.3 billion. It's going to stick on that. No one expected Jumanji to make over 800 mil. I think it's on 850 now or something insane. And but Last Jedi made numbers to what they expected. Rogue One was, I think, more of a hit than I thought it would be. With this is the one where the name of Han Solo isn't attractive enough to bring you into a film.
Yeah, he works as a supporting character, not as a main character.
Even Harrison Ford isn't a big enough name to attract people. Look at Blade Runner 2049, one of the best films of last year, one of the best blockbusters in years. Him and Ryan Gosling couldn't even make that hit together. This, you've literally got... This will make... This is my bet. This will make less money than Black Panther. Yeah. I would happily bet $1,000 on that if I had that.
Here's a question for you then. So let's say this film underperforms, does very average, not many people like it, critically it's a mess. Even critics were very much divided on Last Jedi. I think it probably tended more towards the negative than it did split. Do you think this is where we're going to start to see diminishing returns from Star Wars? Do you think Episode 9 will be a big movie based on sort of like the middling success of Last Jedi and
Oh no, 9 will be humongous because 8 was still a big hit, the highest grossing film of last year, I think 10th of all time now. It was still a massive hit. There just was a very loud dislike from a small portion of fans. 9 will be huge, and I think it might benefit 9 that there's a 1.5 year gap between Han Solo and 9, just so people aren't chucked with another Star Wars film in the face. That They've had time to think. There'll be a celebration sometime next year. They can start building up momentum. It's got the December release date again, and it'll be marked as the final episodic film of this generation, I guess we could say. But yeah, although I'm looking at Isma's question of, besides Solo, what other spin-off film would you rather see?
I'm just writing a reply to that now, actually.
It's a hard one. We're doing videos on it, but right now, I mean, Obi-Wan's the obvious answer, and I think that's going to happen, so I can kind of rule that out. I genuinely don't know where I stand now, because they've announced these the Rian Johnson trilogy, which is going to be a new series. The Game of Thrones showrunners Benioff and Weiss, they're going to write and produce a series of films. No number how many, could be 2, could be 5. I don't know what I want to see. I want them to do something new, like Rogue One, fit in a gap of a story that I'd want to know the answer to, and take it from there. If it needs names, then have it Obi-Wan, or just have something set during the Clone Wars.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, I don't need. Obviously, with like a film like Obi-Wan or Rogue One, you've got the draw that it's still tied very much into the original trilogy and fleshing out the story, but it's Star Wars. Like, go crazy with it. Like, you could do anything. That's why I'm hoping Rian Johnson's trilogy or even the Game of Thrones showrunners do something completely different. Old Republic gets thrown out a lot. I'd love to see an Old Republic trilogy or series of films set before Phantom Menace, like 1,000 years or whatever it is before. Obi-Wan's a definite. I'd like to see a Darth Maul one, but as we've talked about this before, like the film canon,
wouldn't make sense.
It's kind of like he died. I think the animated ones pretty much exhausted everything they can with that character to this point. I don't think you could do a Saj Ventress because, again, the animated.
She's dead now.
Yeah. It's tough. It's really tough. Maybe I'm going to get into like jokey answers now, but like a Bothan's Darth Plagueis. There you go. Young Palpatine with Darth Plagueis. Let's see that story. Maybe Snoke is still Plagueis. We don't know. Maybe we'll have to wait until episode 9. Maybe he'll come back from the dead.
What about a General Hux? You remember Boyhood? Do you remember Boyhood, that film across 10 years? I want to see young Hux growing up with his dad, who was one of the head of the Imperials, to the moment where he gets him murdered. That would be a very interesting 10-year story.
Played by his real-life dad.
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing to get Mad-Eye Moody in a Star Wars film, to be honest. No, there's Star Wars is an open door. At the minute, we're referring to a timeline of how many years is there between? Is there like 80 years between episode 1 and episode 8 or something? There's
between what?
Oh no,
between
episode 1 and
episode 1. Oh
yeah, so there's 10, 13.
Is it like
66 years between episode 1 and episode 8? So, I mean, that's we've got 66 years in a story that's been told over thousands of years. I think we're going to get an Old Republic content, whether it's the TV series or the films.
Yeah.
Deep down, I want something set between 7 and 8. No, sorry, not 7 and 8, because that'd be 2 days. Yeah, 6 and 7. My
favorite bit of new canon that's come out between that time is Battlefront 2 for PlayStation 4. I watched the campaign for that and I absolutely loved it. If they could have turned that into a movie, that would have been the episode 7 I wish we could have had. It's awkward though, because you've got the whole, Princess Leia thing, Lando, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker. You can't get them to that age now, no matter if you do like the whole de-aging CGI face thing. So you'd have to do a new story set in between there, but that's like the new equivalent of the time between 3 and 4. Like, you've got that big chunk, that big time period you could go crazy with. In an ideal world, we're never going to see it now. I would have loved to have seen an in-between film of episode 1 and 2 with training Anakin with Obi-Wan. Maybe we're going to get flashbacks in the Obi-Wan spin-off. I don't know. Maybe Broom Kid could play the younger Anakin. I don't know.
There's an open door for them to choose from. I think I was onto something then, but my mind's not what it was. A director Krennic film. There's so much potential for the Star Wars universe. I don't know, but I think one thing set on the Han Solo film. I'd take a Lando film. Is that another answer we can have?
Yeah.
Starring Donald Glover. And they can use scenes from this Han Solo one, but then refilm around the same time. We can get another story in there. But Star Wars, it's an open door to anything they want it to be in.
Yeah. The
question is now, are they doing too much with 2 series announced, TV shows on their way, bound to be another animated film?
Of course they are.
And my answer is, as long as we aren't getting 3 films a year like Marvel, where you have to watch all 3 to understand the next one the following year, then eventually it'll be 4 films a year, then eventually it'll be 1 a month, and we'll all be 50. As long as Star Wars sticks to 1 film a year and a series of some capacity, I do not mind. But they need to be right. And I think there's lessons to be learned from Kathleen Kennedy, and I think they are doing this by going for a different director for the Obi-Wan. That it's great bringing in these young, talented directors like Gareth Edwards, like Phil Lord and Chris Miller, but sometimes they aren't ready. I think Edwards was ready, but Phil Lord and Chris Miller clearly weren't. And I think now the question is, not to be safe, but they need to have it 300% nailed in the coffin that they can get the film out they want to do before announcing. And I think that's why they've taken so long to announce the next spin-off film. I mean, think of that, they even had Josh Trank for about 6 months, didn't they? And that was before Phantom Force came out. So I'm up for anything as long as it's going to be interesting and be a Star Wars film I've gone to the cinema before.
I think this one will be the most Disney-controlled Star Wars film
ever made.
Had to go
and it will,
and
it will be the most Disney-controlled, probably for the foreseeable future as well.
Yeah,
I think the others will be fine.
I think gone are the days now of what they originally pitched. Like, we're going to bring in these directors, these new and upcoming directors that will put their unique stamp on Star Wars. All the films will be different, which I would have liked. Like, you got like a different tone for each movie, different directors. It's going to be controlled by the Disney machine at this point. You're going to have that checklist. You're going to have all these. This is what people expect from a Star Wars movie. This is what we're going to give them. I am feeling the fatigue of Star Wars a bit now. I thought I would. I mean, I keep saying like it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan, and I guess it is. But it will get to the stage where if they do bring a spin-off movie, like the first part of the year, and then they do the Old Republic movie later in the year, if they do that, it's going to get ridiculous. Everywhere you look, you see Star Wars in any shop, whether it be clothes, whether it be merchandise, or at Disney, whatever it happens to be. It's everywhere. And I do think it gets to the stage when these movies keep rolling around in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time. I'm going to feel like wanting to be Luke Skywalker, like going away to like a deserted island somewhere, just like getting away.
Go there in real life.
Yeah.
Go there again.
And then some twat will show up with a lightsaber. I'll be like, oh, for fuck's sake. I don't know. In terms of the trailer, the final thoughts I'll give on it. The new aliens look cool. Like the costumes, it looks interesting. I want to see the adventure. Some bits, like little quick trailer bits I wanted to talk about. I like seeing the really mundane job side of the Death Star and the Empire. So seeing a whole job interview with like a duty manager is pretty fun. I love that shot of it seems like every new Star Wars movie now has to come up with a new creative way to show off the Star Destroyer. I love how it's coming out like out of the fog. That looks great.
Lando brings back his classic thing. You can see in the corner of a shot. He does it with his robot. He's probably going to die now because it's his own name, not hers. What else do I love about the trailer?
It looks like you might have an Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark moment where you've got the kind of like tribal guy on the desert and he's like reaching for his pistol. Maybe he'll try and recreate that classic scene. I don't know. There's lots of little bit. There's like a Fifth Element part as well in the bar with the gold chick singing. It's kind of like they've mashed the opera singer from Fifth Element and Chris Tucker's character in the gold jumpsuit into one character.
Looked a bit like, Fantastic Beasts, where they had that random bold. I can't remember. Was it an elf singing or was it just like a normal
goblin?
human?
Was it like a female goblin or something?
Yeah, it was.
I'm not sure.
Very creepy. It reminded me of that, but looked a lot cooler and more suave, like a Star Wars thing. But no, that's I mean, like I said, it's a fine trailer. To me, at Barlando, there wasn't anything standing out, but there was a lot of good stuff going for it. Yeah, there was some things I'm not looking forward to, but I just want to see more of Woody Harrelson and Lando. Give me more than Chewbacca's Chewbacca. I mean, is there going to be some really deep, like Schindler's List moment where Han Solo? No, I don't mean like that. I mean it in the sense of torture.
Do War for the Planet of the Apes. Do like cages of Wookiees and Woody Harrelson.
Yes, that's
like
a much
shaving
better,
his head.
That's a much better example. I should have gone with in the first place, but I just want to see a sort of Wookiee moment of Han Solo coming in to save the day, because we've never really seen Chewbacca vulnerable. He's always seemed fine on screen, so if we can get a look at his dark past, then I would be very intrigued for that.
Will Chewie let out another Tarzan yell in this movie, like Revenge of the Sith or Return of the Jedi?
Yes.
Why not, right? I don't know. I think I've said pretty much everything I can on this movie. In all honesty, like, of course I'm going to go and see it. I don't know if I'm going to do a midnight for this one yet. I'm really undecided.
I'm gonna do a midnight
Mhm.
because it's Star Wars. However, it's MCM London that weekend, so the question is, do I go to the Leicester Square IMAX? Which is mental because for not Force Awakens, for Last Jedi, we were all like, yep, we're there, like 6 months before it come out. Whereas this is, I'm not going to know till the last minute. I don't really care until the last minute.
Mm.
But I can tell you one thing: I'm not fitting 5 of us into a hotel room because this film, you're not going to find 5 people that want to watch this together at midnight as well. But does that sum up the Han Solo film? I don't know. I want this to be great. Don't get me wrong.
I think it does. The last thing the question I guess I'll say is, when are we going to get the next trailer? Are we going to get another trailer?
Infinity War, week before Infinity War.
Yeah,
that's my bet. That'll be the only other trailer. Then you'll get like 100 TV spots.
Yeah. Someone's put, oh wait, what's the rating for this? I'm guessing it's going to be a 12A. Like,
yeah. Well, PG-13 for America, isn't it?
Yeah.
But 12A over here. But yeah, I mean, one day we might get an R-rated Star Wars film. Tarantino's doing Star Trek now. I wonder how long that lasts, given his recent news. But yeah,
he'd be like, right, I want you to fly the Starship Enterprise directly into this tree. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Starring Uma Thurman.
That was a very good way to end the show. We're not a big you're not a big Tarantino fan, to be fair. So we've got our own opinions on all of this.
I like his films. I'm not so much of a fan of him.
The man. It's not a very good man, no. But that's made this video even more depressing. Yeah. This is a nice way to sound out is that we don't really do trade talk often, but we do it for the massive films. There is a Venom trailer dropping tomorrow, which you're going to have a reaction for. They've just released a poster now if anyone wants to know.
Yeah, tomorrow you'll see a reaction for Venom and Deadpool. I'll do a 2 superhero one because the Deadpool one's come out today, but I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, Deadpool looks fine, just fine. Nothing else, nothing higher. But as usual, we will. I guess. I mean, there's got to be an Infinity War trailer coming, probably a week. Like Thor, the Infinity War trailer came after Thor. I guarantee you, about a month after Black Panther, there'll be another Infinity War trailer. We don't do this often, but for the massive films, we do them because they're worth a conversation about. So we will be back with trailer talk at some point. If not, Chris will have a reaction on, like we said, Venom and Deadpool tomorrow, and loads of other films coming out. We've got all the Super Bowl spots on the playlist on the channel for you. So there's Mission Impossible, Jurassic World. You didn't react to the Peter Dinklage rap battle with Morgan Freeman, though. That's a shame. But
if enough people request it, I'll do it. The Skyscraper I didn't do as well, so I might do that.
Oh no, it's one-legged Die Hard.
Oh, is it?
Okay. That's such a shame. But it's The Rock, so I'm there. I do hate Deadpool. That's why I said it's fine. Sorry, someone commented saying I hate Deadpool. Quickly, I'm not going to spoil the trailer for Chris. This trailer looked alright because I had Josh Brolin in. It had to do a Deadpool thing in the middle. Didn't end up trying to be really funny. This time, I saw it in my childhood memories of Toy Story. But it looks a lot better than the last couple of trailers. It already looks better than the last film. I want it to be good. However, you just know it's going to be full of boring Thanos references because Josh Brolin's Thanos as well. But it does look better than the last few. But hopefully Star Wars crushes Deadpool at the box office.
Yeah. What else we got coming? So on top of all that stuff, we should be getting back to the Academy Award season now. We've had a little bit of a break from it. We'll have reviews for I, Tonya. We've got Shape of Water. We've got everyone's favorite Phantom Thread. Also, we may as well plug it while we can now. We've done our Oscar predictions video. Oscars take place, I think it's like the first week of March, second week of March.
Sunday the 4th.
But we want you guys to send in your predictions. If you send us in your first and second choices of all the nominations list, whoever gets the most points out there will get the chance to feature on a future episode with us at some point, probably be a Battle of the Brackets or something like that. So get those sent in to us. Send them over on our Facebook or Twitter. Links to those are in the description down below.
Definitely. And as usual, I'm going to try and peace out. I'm not good at outros. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Tate would say hit the bell. I don't know why he always says that, but he does. And as well, just let us know what you think of the new Han Solo film trailer. Do you want to watch the film? Do you not? People that aren't mad on Star Wars, does this look incredibly average? Do you not care? Did you even know it was a Han Solo film until they told you? That's the sort of things that's going to hit some people, non-members of the public. But
and also, which spin-off would you like to see? Which Star Wars spin-off would you like to see? We had some good suggestions in the comments, so it'd be interesting to see what people come up with. Hogwarts
Yes.
Leicester, Whatamber maybe. Who knows? The realms of possibility are endless.
They should just do that. You know, the red or black trick. They should just do that, and it lands on like a Star Wars character, and they just spin off film about them. It would be much more entertaining than maybe that's how he lost the Millennium Falcon. Who knows?
On the roulette table. Yeah, maybe. We'll find out.
Maybe he bet Chewbacca wouldn't survive like 6 months of enslavement. But I think this is a better chance than ever to piece out our video. Again, thanks everyone for listening, commenting with us. We'll be back with more reaction videos and news and other stuff. We need to do a GOUT review as well. But like I said, Oscars, follow us, join our predictions game. It's good fun, it's competitive. And of course, we have our Oscar live stream on March the 4th. Yeah, not May 4th. But that's a better day, though. Yeah. But I want to say thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you to everyone. Enjoyed. See you guys.